I'm Ronnie. All the good names are taken. 31 days. He's Hugh Tim. And today, on Friday the 13th, a day that every horror fan loves when a Friday turns into the 13th. Everybody's watching Friday the 13th movies. Everybody's watching horror movies. It don't have to be in October. But this particular Friday the 13th, Tim, is happening in October.
Right.
So we're in the middle of 31 days. It will be a perfect opportunity to continue our Friday the 13th reviews, but we can't because Blake is busy. It would be a perfect opportunity to review Never Hike Alone 2. Couldn't get early access to it. So what did we decide on October of 2023 on a particular Friday that happened to be a 13th? We decided we were going to review The Toxic Slime Creature, Tim.
And Ronnie, I couldn't agree with your decision more. This might be the most watched podcast on Friday the 13th. When everyone's looking for something to feed their addiction, it's going to be this. So many clicks. I mean, the title alone, people are going to be like, oh, I remember this movie. Click.
Going down the rabbit hole of The Toxic Slime Creature, which for people that might not be familiar with The Toxic Slime Creature, is a shot on video classic from 1982 that, depending on what part of the internet you go to, may or may have not gotten a release. These guys in New Jersey, and one thing I'm learning, Tim, is the northeast section of this country was a shot on video hotbed back in the 80s. Whether it's John McBride up in Maine or these cats in New Jersey, that's where everybody's making the shot on video movies.
So does that just mean you got a camcorder and you're going at it?
Well, I guess, yeah, that's what it means. You take a camcorder and you shoot your own movie.
Okay. All right.
And some of these hands, like John McBride, lucked into wide stream distribution to all the VHS rental stores across the country just by having a movie that he went out to the trade conventions and convinced them to buy.
When having a movie at the movie store, just it guaranteed a couple of 10,000 people were going to see your movie. Like
and
that. Yeah.
This particular movie has two things attached to it. I saved one of them. It was Carlson International was listed after this movie. Now, as far as I know, there's no DVD release of this movie, and if you possibly find it on VHS, you may have a $600 to $700 to $800 tape on your hands. But the fact that they put Carlson International after this movie leads you to believe that a company like Carlson International picked it up and distributed the tape.
They're the distributor, so it went somewhere.
Unless Carlson International was what they named their production company when they were filming this in their job over the weekend before having to come back to work.
Okay, so I got a quick question before we get into this. Which character is the director, screenwriter, videographer's brother?
You didn't look it up?
I looked, but I don't. When we watch these horror movies, there's only one character I care about, and it's the sandwich guy. It's the sandwich delivery guy. He's in the movie. He's by far the best character. He's all I got. Was he the brother? Or was it the owner of the creepiest, most awkward makeout scene of all time, Arn Anderson's weaker little brother?
The movie was written and directed by Kenneth Zolo.
Who's the other Zolo is what I'm asking.
Yeah.
He's in there.
I'm looking through here. Robert Zolo is Joe DeVito.
Who is
It's got to be the Italian, the Guido, right?
The sandwich guy, the best character?
Is that the one that gets his leg broken?
Yeah.
All right. So
Hey, what's the problem? Let's eat some sandwiches. It's incredible.
I watched this movie with my wife, and we sat there, and I was glad to see that she was having the same problems as I had. I couldn't hear the dialogue, and I didn't know what the hell was going on because the movie starts off with everybody in the office, and all of a sudden they hear this loud crash outside. Some guy runs outside and ends up with Play-Doh on his face, and everybody else slams the door and starts freaking out.
You're gonna make your own movie, right? Yeah. You're gonna make your own movie. Why not push the plot along with something a little easier dude, like that's pretty ambitious to have a train crash and you ain't got a train. And your toxic fog is a guy went outside and instantly got vaporized, but everyone inside of this warehouse where there's a million doors and windows open seemed to be unaffected.
Yeah, but they tightened it down to one little set piece later in the movie where they were just in the office.
Right. But before that, I mean, the dude's in the helicopter on the radio, like, we're thousands of feet above the site and my skin's still burning. Like, give me a break. The people in this building would have been toast.
Yeah, they've been dead.
They skip a bunch of important stuff. I get what you're saying. They just skip it completely.
Train wrecks outside the office, supposed killer gas, toxic gas, acid, dude got his face burned off. So these people start sealing themselves into the building, and which is a really good idea for a movie when you don't have any money. It's going to be 1 or 2 rooms, and you're going to use point of view camera for the toxic Avenger slime creature. But that's the end of the plot, Tim, because the rest of the movie is just them staring at each other, screaming, and then all random second they show what looks like a turd bubbling on the ground, which
the sandwich guy spent 3 minutes detailing the order and saying, this is how much you owe me. It's an entire real life sandwich scene. And I'm thinking, if you don't have a movie to film, why film a movie? Like, we usually rate a movie. This can't get a rating. This is nothing. This is a bunch of people who spend an afternoon in a building and that's it. It's not scary. Nothing's connected. It's bad, Ronnie. It's going to be tough to talk about.
It seems like a lot
except for the makeout scene. That had emotional impact for me.
Yeah, that was very Weinsteinish. All of a sudden, this girl is going to fall into the arms of one of the ugliest people in the movie, and he's giving her a massage that's going to lead to straight sex scene before they hear a noise and run outside and see the toxic slime creature.
And he's not doing he's trying to come across, his character he's a really concerned good guy. Yeah. But since he looks so pervy, it's bad. It's cringe.
I like what the chick said. You remind me of insert name here. I can't remember what name she said.
Football star from high school.
You don't look like him, but you care about me just like he cared about me. You're always there when I need you.
What a brutal line. You don't look like him, but hey, you're a good guy.
And he was about to try to go right there in the middle of this crisis because he knew the attack of the toxic slime creature, a scenario like this, was probably going to be the only way he was going to bury.
When did it become like, what horror movie said you're going to have your sex scene in a horror movie? Like, there may be a killer on the loose, but doggone it, somebody's going to screw.
How about this? You're obviously doing this with a camcorder. How do you tell your friends, okay, we're going to have like a almost sex scene right here. I need you to make out with this guy.
Not the delivery guy, who is at least not bald with this disgusting old man beard with glasses. I say that, and my beard is almost completely white. But you get what I'm saying, right?
I love that you're putting this sandwich guy up on a pedestal, Guido, mullet,
dude,
greasy.
He's like, you know what we need? A catapult. He's second in command. After the office manager dies, he's instantly the leader. They follow him without question. And he's the sandwich guy.
They stole that in the Robin Hood movie with Kevin Costner. Let's get a catapult. He made it.
That was great.
I was really disappointed. The whole 56 minutes, I was really disappointed. Tim, you figured me out. The good thing about having you this month, you stepping in and doing everything for the show, is you were able to survive these shot on video movies that I want to watch that Blake in a million years would never agree. Blake would have got 10 minutes into this, and when he couldn't understand the English dialogue, he would have turned it off.
I'm not gonna like a well done horror movie, so why not watch something that at least has a little, something like this way out there.
See, a good gimmick would be for us on this channel to just start remaking these bad shot on video movies, and we remake it better. but it's still not good, but it's better than the original.
With a cell phone, you could crush Toxic Slime Creature.
Yes. I was really disappointed I never got to see the Toxic Slime Creature.
Well, okay, so explain to me how this thing is so fast.
The guy that was running around that was going to escape with Mr. Bronk.
He runs around for what seems like hours in a 50-minute movie. And the creature, this snail thing, has no shot of catching this guy. Like,
hey,
you could do a brisk walk. Yeah. Jimmy's brutal. Like, he left that dude there to die. Like, he was like, you know what? Not going to happen.
That guy was just, Mr. Bronk was like, hey, man, just help me up the stairs. Here he comes. He wasn't even panicked by it. He was ready to see a monster. He's like, hey, a little bit of help.
Cold left him.
Where you going? And then he doesn't even scream like somebody's being killed by a monster. It's sort of like, How
did no one know how to scream? I wrote that down. Nobody knows how to scream. Dude, the final scene where they're just throwing things into dead space. No one knows how to act afraid. How are you going to film a horror movie and no one knows how to look like they're scared?
It's looked like they strapped a camcorder to Lexington Steel and you got to see like side of it as it's going after people. I don't know. Edit. I don't know. Woo! Tim, what happened at the end of the movie? Because I rewound it.
Dude, I tried. There were 2 parts to the movie where I had to rewatch it, and they don't explain anything. One is, did they kill the snail?
No.
So what's that thing on the floor?
No, here's the conclusion that I came to. The old lady who like has a moment at the end of the movie where she's like, I haven't said a prayer in 25 years. Yeah. And she's over there just saying the Lord's Prayer. She lures the creature in that we never see, by the way, into a room and the door shuts. Then you hear something trying to get out of the room. And then the camera pans back as the pervy guy, the Guido, and the chick are like picking each other up to walk out. And all I could think after I rewound it was it killed the old lady, but in turn shut the door and trapped itself in the room. And they were
the gas that was going to kill it.
Possibly.
Why is this giant slug activated by a gas that kills it?
Yeah. So I'm glad you brought that up, Tim. I think the movie Super 8 that J.J. Abrams directed copied their whole plot from the Toxic Slime Creature because they leave enough mystery in this movie. There was a train derailment. So did the toxic slime that leaked out of the wreckage from the train hitting the ground, did that create a monster, or were they transporting a toxic slime creature across the country and it wrecks and it escapes like the movie Super 8?
No, the creature comes from the room where they buried their toxic waste.
I thought it just dug up from that room.
That's a hell of a coincidence.
I don't know.
The movie made it seem like this giant mutated slug came out of the toxic waste room because the train had a wreck, which released a gas that killed the giant slug.
See, I think you're way off. I think what they were going for was the toxic waste mixed with some chemicals outside and created possibly the toxic waste got onto a slug outside and the slug buried its way into the ground and came up through the ground of the factory.
Through the toxic waste room. Yeah. Just that they mentioned previously to foreshadow that this room might be important, independent of this room. Why, if it can't create the snail and kill it at the same time, it can't create this mutant slug and then also be the reason it dies.
Which goes back to my Super 8 prediction or my Super 8 theory that they were transporting some kind of creature across the country. And that's the reason they cleared out that whole section so fast is so people wouldn't be able to see this monster.
How many people died in this movie? 2? 3?
No, it was more than that. Like, dude gets his face burned off right away. They find some random guy dead. Jimmy and Mr. Bronk guy.
I forgot about the dude the mechanic who took a walk around the warehouse with a flashlight for a solid 45 seconds, found nothing, end of scene. Like he walked around with a flashlight, and you're like, "Oh, this is going to be where he confronts it." Nope, goes back to work. Boom, let's go back upstairs.
Yeah, well, that's it. That's the toxic slime creature from 1982. Tim, I'm going to let you tee it off. Now, before you do what I think you're going to do, you need to watch the episodes with Boz, where Boz's rating is, if it's a 1, he's walking out of the room, which obviously you're going to have your own rating. But I know you're probably going to try to give this a 0.
No.
You can't give it a 0. Well, I guess you technically can't give it a 0.
You can't grade this like it's a movie. Like you can't. You have to grade this as something you would watch just for the novelty of having said you've seen it. Right?
Yeah,
like it's not, you're not going to watch this movie because it's breaking new ground in the horror genre. You're going to watch it because it's a shot on video movie from the 80s, and you're going to want to see something like that. So in that respect, it's a 4.
Oh, well, that's wow. That's pretty high. Holy crap. That's pretty. Yeah. This is like a
shot to video. It's going to be, it's going to be heavy on the characters. You're not going to see a lot of the bad guy on my limited 2-movie experience on shot to video. And I mean, it's not long, so they don't let you get sick of it.
It's true, but I did get sick of it. And then I thought it was a brave choice during the scenes where there was dialogue to have the person in the back hitting the piano key over and over and over and over and over.
The soundtrack of this movie, of this shot to video thing, was the absolute worst thing ever. Like, even when they're walking around, like, where's the spooky music?
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. But then again, these guys were brave, and they put it all out there for everybody. A 4 is a very high score for this movie.
You think they made any money?
No, Tim, I was going to bring up the fact that me and you may be in a small group of people to ever see this movie.
But somebody put it on YouTube, man.
Yes.
Like somebody, and there's, how many views did this have on YouTube?
That's a great question.
We need to see that, because that's probably the only place you could dependably see it. Almost done, ladies. Better save me some.
Tim, this has got 155 views.
Oh God. All right, man. Yeah. You got
this was like us going to the premiere.
Everyone who, if you're watching this review, it's 50 minutes, you got nothing to lose, go click on it. Dude, how high do you think we can get it? The power of ATG and AT.
We can get it at least 10 more clicks.
Dude, 10 more. 10 more by the end of October.
Let's see what it's at the end of October. Right now it's at 155. If we can get it to 160, we've done our job.
Boom.
Tim, this is a 2.6, Tim. This is a 2.6. I'm grading it by a movie. I've seen a lot of shot on video movies. This needed an ending, and this needed to let us see what the toxic slime creature looked like. If they would have done those things, I would have given this thing a 5 point something easy.
Yeah.
I mean, but I needed to see the monster, and I needed a definitive ending where somebody gives up their life to save somebody, and we got 2 people leaving there, heroes. I needed better music too. Okay.
Is this the most disappointing, like, bad guy / creature in the 31 days of horror? This is probably going to be it, right?
This is probably, yeah. I mean, I still have like 3 open slots on the scoreboard to be filled in before the end of the month. I can't imagine a worse monster, or as you say, monster.
God, people always call me out on that.
For another movie. Yeah, this is bad. ATGNATpodcast@gmail.com. I have no idea, people, why I give out the email. You don't email. Hit us up on the socials, Instagram and
Send pics.
We have Patreon. We have YouTube memberships if you want to help support the show. 13 days in. I want to take this time right now to everybody that clicked on this. Go over to Womp Stomp Films. Support Vincent DeSaney. Watch Never Hike Alone 2. Contribute to his Indiegogo campaign. That guy is single-handedly saving the Friday the 13th franchise. And I know a lot of you guys are going to say, but there's a series coming, Ronnie. It's Crystal Lake. Did you see the gaggle of freaks that was in that writing room for that series? It's going to be awful. So get over there and Womp Stomp Films on YouTube. Never Hike Alone 2. Tom Matthews is back versus Jason. It's going to be great. Go support the only guy out there right now giving us quality Friday the 13th flicks. Anything else, Tim?
That's it.
Friday the 13th, man. You know, one of these days, Tim, we'll be able to do this show live every day so we could take advantage of stuff like this. Some of us wouldn't have work on a particular Friday the 13th to have to go to. We'd be here and we could just live stream Never Hike Alone 2. It would be great. For those of you that's going to ask in the comments, we will continue our Friday the 13th reviews as soon as October's over. Next up is part 7, and we will carry it all the way to Never Hike Alone 2. So you guys stick around for that. Hit us in the comments. What is your review? What is your score for the Toxic Slime Creature? Have you seen this movie? Will you search out this movie? Just type in Toxic Slime Creature into your YouTube search bar. It will pop up. We got to get these guys over 155 views. New Jersey, that's where it's at. It was the hotbed of shot on video crime and film, apparently. Tim, I'll see you tomorrow, buddy.
Later.